Hey, good morning, everybody. We are starting Mark chapter 12 today, and Mark chapter 12 comes right after Mark chapter 11, where yesterday we watched Jesus coming into Jerusalem, riding on a donkey on the Palm Sunday, and people were waving palm branches at him because they wanted to signify that he was going to become their political king. And of course, we realize as we read on, Jesus wanted nothing to do with politics. He was interested in people's hearts. And in his teaching, he wanted to teach them that God's love, and when God's love overtakes a person's heart, and that's the most powerful force that there is in the universe, more powerful than wealth or politics or fame, or even the current religious system that was so corrupt even in Jesus' day. And even more, it's a free gift. Now, of course, the Jewish religious leaders were offended by Jesus' popularity with the people. And the next morning, after his entrance, Jesus further raised the ire of the religious leaders when he went into the temple yard and turned over the money changers' tables, the tables where the people sold sacrifices, lambs and doves to the people at an exorbitant amount. And the religious leaders had kept the people understanding that they fell short of God no matter what, that no matter how much they sacrificed, they were just a little bit short of actually being right with God. And of course, Jesus realized that, and so when he turned over the money changers' tables, he was telling that this system is going to go down. This system is no good, and in fact, it's going to be replaced by Jesus dying on the cross once and for all, his death and resurrection. But that's not until Friday and until Sunday. So in today's reading, we find that Jesus is telling a parable that even more makes the religious leaders mad. In this parable, the leaders are shown to have rejected all God's attempts at making a connection with them. Even God's sending his own son. And in every case, of course, they reject the offers, and ultimately they refuse to see Jesus as the Son of God and worthy of their trust. They had too much at stake, too much of their own power and prestige at stake to listen to Jesus. So at the end of that parable, you can read the details of it in verse 12 of Mark chapter 12. It says the religious leaders wanted to arrest Jesus because they realized he was telling the story against them. They were the wicked farmers. They were afraid of the crowds, so they left him and they went away. And now, these guys are not done with Jesus, however. The very next verse, it says, later, the leaders sent some Pharisees and supporters of Herod to trap Jesus into saying something for which he could be arrested. And in the next many verses that we're going to follow through, there's a story in today's reading and in the upcoming ones where they have many unsuccessful attempts at getting Jesus arrested. And we'll see as they were unsuccessful, because they were unsuccessful, they ultimately have to lie about him because he is so offensive. And that leads us to the point, why was Jesus so offensive? And why is it today that Jesus is so offensive to many? Well, I think part of it is that Jesus calls us to be honest. He calls us to be honest about ourselves. Most of us don't like to admit that we're not self-sufficient and that we need anybody or anything else in our life, and that our personal plan for life is flawed. In fact, it's sinful. We are sinful. In Jesus' day, the religious leaders had power over the people. Their sacrificial system always had to be repeated over and over again, and it was never enough. As I said before, the people always were left believing that they were never right with God. They had never done enough. Honestly, in our day, so many people believe that what makes them right with God is that, well, if my good deeds outweigh my bad deeds, and hopefully God will look with favor on me. But just like in the sacrificial system of Jesus' day, you just never know. You just never know where you are with God. Jesus is introducing God's new plan, God's real plan for each person. It's called grace, and it's through the sacrifice of his death and his resurrection where we can be right with God and through faith, and it is a free gift, as I said before. So I encourage you, don't be like the religious leaders. Don't fight Jesus. Instead listen to him. Trust him. He rose from the dead, and no one else has ever done that. And so he deserves our trust. And I pray that as you walk through this day, that you will go and trust him with your life completely. Have a wonderful day.
If these devotional videos are helpful to you, subscribe to our channel and click the notification button so you know when we post a new video. And of course, please share them with others.